that for the recording, this is the Genius Insight support call that we do every week. Below in the link, you can find the free link to sign up. If you're interested in purchasing the software after this webinar or just want to know more information about it, please go to my website. This is my website, and I have all of my tools and training and everything on there, and it is Awaken Total Health, awakentotalhealth.com. So go to awakentotalhealth.com and hit the Contact Us button. Go to Awaken Total Health and hit the Contact Us button, and you can get in touch with me, ask me for a demonstration or ask for more information, or I can help you to put a system together that you may be interested in utilizing with everything that you need and the best deal that I can offer you at that time. Okay, we have some wonderful attendees today. I want to welcome Agata. Agata is a graduate of my Biofeedback Practitioner Program, and the Biofeedback Practitioner Program is available on my website. And these ladies, we had almost 30 people participate in that, and they did a wonderful job in the class of really getting the material, and I think are really starting to utilize the material. On that note, if you're interested in taking the course and then having me send you clients, send me a message at awakentotalhealth.com. So after you graduate with the Biofeedback Practitioner certificate, we're going to send you clients. And of course, there's a little bit of a mentorship I need to do with you. But if you've taken the class and you want me to send you clients, then let's talk. And I also am looking for people to do demonstrations and to do orientations, which is paid work. So if you're interested in that, go to awakentotalhealth.com and send me a message. We have a bunch of the Carols here today, Carol R and Carol L, and Krista is joining us from the Midwest. Krista, welcome, and I'm really excited that you're able to take a more active role in looking at the Genius and learning more about it. One of our new practitioners, Dale, is here making great use of the program. Now, Dale, I know you had a case you want me to work on, so just to make it a little easier today, go ahead and send me the name and date of birth in the comments. Nobody else sees that, and that will allow me to get started on your case today and just do a little description of who we're working with. I'm not going to include the picture, even though I have the picture, just for privacy's sake, if you still want me to work with your client. Anybody else who wants to be worked on today, please go ahead and send me your date of birth. If you'd like to be worked on today, if you'd like me to cover your case today, send me your date of birth. It's great if we can get your voice recording. That's bonus. Elfie, a warm welcome to you. You're the best ever. If you're interested in doing demonstrations for other people, Elfie, you're wonderful and talented. Get in touch with me. You'd be a great person to do that. Giselle is here. Warm welcome to you, Gisela. Thank you so much for joining us. And Grace is here. Grace from Massachusetts is here. Grace, thank you so much for being here. Heather has dropped back in again. Jeff from the East Coast. We got a lot of East Coast action happening today. Of course, Karen's joining us with her wonderful crew up in Canada, and we warmly welcome them and her. We're so fortunate to have her. I just want to really warmly welcome everyone today. Thank you. And Mary A., Mary, who I talked to last week, thanks for checking in and making it to our class today. I appreciate it. What we're looking at here is something I wanted to talk to you guys about. We're looking at an aura, and I got a great question from Kathy, I believe it was yesterday. And Kathy asked the question, how do I know when I'm done? How do I know when I'm done running the frequencies? And that's a really great question, a common question that I want to address. One of the things that I found to be really important these days is using the aura as a monitoring tool during my session. So you've seen me do this now for the last couple of weeks, and I've really found it. I will often continue to balance someone, and sometimes with the miracle frequencies. So I'll use the regular progressive insights, and then I'll alternate back with the miracle frequencies, which I'll show you. And I really want to get to a point where I feel that the aura looks good within reason. So I will test the aura at different points along the session. So for example, this is the beginning of a session, okay? And we've got this gray under here, and we've got some, I call them like densities. It looks kind of muddy. Sometimes it looks a little bit like pea soup. And then this is the second one. And these are usually in about 3-minute intervals. Now, immediately after the inception of the harmonizing, we're starting to see some wonderful purple and green. This is the client, they're really taking in the frequencies. They're really drinking them in. This is a positive response. And it's not always a great transmission to the screen, but we're seeing instantly. Let's just look before and after again. So let me see if I can make this a little bigger. So before, and of course you can just get the idea, like this looks more gray, this looks more, you're looking for those higher vibrational colors, but you're also looking for the disappearance of the gray and the disappearance of what I call density. So density is it looks more muddy, it looks more soupy, and it kind of goes into a crisper sort of a look. And the average for my sessions is about 12 to 15 minutes of harmonizing, but I have extended it at different times based on the results that I see in the aura. So here's the third one. Now this is interesting, right, you guys, because between here and here, it doesn't look as good. So we also go through an onion peeling. we go, it like peaks and valleys. We take in the information, we're all nice and wonderful, and we're rosy cheeks and everything feels good. And then once we have that, we dive back into a deeper layer. We go back in, swoop back in order to deal with deeper stuff. So here we're diving back in. And so that's 3 minutes after that. So we have some dark energy sort of in here, and it doesn't mean anything bad. It could mean a physical condition. It could mean emotional stuff. So you sort of see that up here. This looks pretty good down here, but it has that kind of density to it. So we've gone back into the soup, working through the muck. You guys get the idea. Then here, it's sort of corollary to number 2. This is number 4. This is sort of corollary to number 2, right? Number 1, number 2, number 3, going back in the muck, number 4, starting to clear stuff out again. And this is how we live our whole lives, right? We're sort of going in, cleaning it up, getting the muck, cleaning it up, so on and so forth. And so this is how your biofeedback can work. And you'll have to make a decision if, this feels like a good ending spot. It has to be within reason. You're not going to see everything clear up, always at the same time. Like you're not going to see it be rosy and perfect because people are working through a lot of stuff. But you'll also get to see how people change the next session and how their aura begins to clean up faster or may have a different whole appearance to it. So these are good to save, to email them to yourself and put them in a computer on your desktop, put them in a little folder for your client so you can go back and look at these and you name the file, the date of the session. So here's number 5. Again, this is continued progress. Nice blue energy settling in here. It's very even. We don't see a lot of those pieces on either side. There's not the gray that was there before. A little bit of density over here. So this is sort of like almost like a neutral zone. And then here, again, we're sort of going into the soup again. So we do have something sort of interesting over here. Kind of not sure what's going on over here. So we're sort of diving back in again, but still we're moving up. I mean, let's go back and look at number 1, right? Look where we've come to. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you see I did a lot of these probably with, it wasn't 2-minute intervals, but I would do some harmonizing for about 3 minutes and then go back in here. All right, so now this may be the last one. Yeah, okay, so now what I was really looking for, because it was getting to be a long session, what I was really looking for was the preponderance of the purples, the preponderance of the blues, the preponderance of the greens, and sort of generally clearing up that density and making sure that there are no grays. Again, you don't have to be perfect, you guys. Nothing you're not going to take care of. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day, sort of a thing. And then I think this is the final one. Yeah. So this is the final one. And this is a good ending. We got lots of green, lots of blue, lots of purple. Really not a ton of gray. And so this is a good sign of progress. And this is, you know, we progressed, right? From here was the beginning. My feeling is that there's probably a lot of physical stuff that's being cleared here. And of course, we don't make any claims about that. But gray is usually physical affliction, you know, some type of disease process moving to here. So this looks very, very good. Could it be better? Would I love to just end on like some deep purples and some blues without sort of this thing coming through? Yes, but it's not necessary. This is very, very good progress, okay? So that's why I just want to give you guys the feel for start to work more actively with that aura this week if you have not in the past. And I'd like to hear what your experience is. I even invite you to send me just taking a minute here. I even invite you to send me your before and after. Like I'd love to show those on the class. If you want to send me some interesting before and after aura pictures, go right ahead. You're warmly welcome to do that. So let's see what we've got here. Let's see if Dale, I don't know, Dale, if you send me the information. Okay, so let's start with your client. I'm going to turn the camera off for a second, and then we'll get to some of the other comments and questions as well. And remind me, Dale, what we're dealing with. Can you go ahead and put in the comment section what in particular, maybe just some of the basics, and I'll see if I can also pull up that email. But just give me some basics down in the comments, so that'll really help me. Okay, so I'm going to turn off the camera for just 1 second so I can enter personal information. And okay, let's get this in here. And we'll see if we can maybe do the neuro remedy today, talk a little bit about the neuro remedy. Remember that your words do change your DNA. And in a lot of ways, we're focusing the energy of words and intention through the genius insight. In fact, that actually is what scalar wave technology is. There's always the question, is the genius sending or programmed with scalar wave technology? And it is not that per se the developer put in scalar wave technology. It is that just the act of taking frequency and focusing it and projecting it out into the universe, that is scalar wave technology. So when you think a thought, in some ways, okay, I can turn this back on now, just sending somebody Reiki or good thoughts, or using what we call radionics, if you have a radionics board, you know, all of those things are really just sending words as turning into frequency out into the universe. Okay, so we're going to actually, a couple of things you can do here when you don't have a client live and in person. You actually can record your voice as their surrogate. So you can actually state that my voice is intended to be the voice frequency of, and then you say the name. So you can do that. I'm not going to do that because I'm not going to say the name live on air because this is private, and I'm also not going to skip the picture now. This might be like, oh my gosh, why do you have a voice and picture? Voice and picture are very good information. This is for learning purposes, but if you guys were on Facebook Live with me on Wednesday, and we're going to be doing another Facebook Live on Wednesday at 12 o'clock, and you'll all get the link for that for sure. Facebook Live Wednesday at 12 o'clock noon, and we may be broadcasting that from the Inside Health Apps page. I have to go check on that. So what we did there, as Sophie was on with me, Sophie, I know you're here today, and what we did was we actually both worked on the same person. We didn't have the voice, we didn't have the picture, we just had the date of birth. We both worked on the same person, and we both got incredibly, like basically the same results. So that was out without the voice and the picture, and the reason for that is because we're working in the quantum field, you guys. It's a bit of a stretch for people to understand, but it was remarkable even to me that Sophie and I were getting the exact same things going on with the brain, the exact same things going on with neurotransmitters. It was completely fascinating. So that was really, really great. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so the gal that we're working on today, she has cancer, fluid in the lung, and an abdominal mass. Told to go home, and that's it. Nothing else that can be done. Oh my goodness, it's terrible. So let's send some blessings and some love to this woman. Even if we don't know who she is or we don't know to her name, we can still direct that energy to her in this moment. So the universe is so much smarter, than we recognize. So, all right, well, let's look overall at just some basics, right? So the first thing I like to start off with is today's stress, just to get an overall look at what's going on. So I don't know if you said what kind of cancer, Dale, so let us know what kind of cancer. Was it lung cancer or something that mets to the lungs? All right, got a lot of things going on at the same time. And okay. Is it possible after doing a session for someone to send the same frequencies to the client? Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's the whole purpose of the Quanta capsule. So we'll talk about that in a moment. All right, so we've got hormonal, nutritional. Now, I've talked about this in the past. Let me see if I can actually do this way. Let me get the highlighter up there. I can only do it, I think, if I have the screen change this way. So anyway, sorry, let me see if I can do this. Okay, there we go. So the hormonal nutritional isn't always that they're getting poor nutrition. This could mean they're not assimilating anything. And probably at a minimum, anyone who has cancer would make sense for them to be on digestive enzymes, because it's very likely that at some point they stopped properly digesting their food and they're not really assimilating food the same way. Okay, and then, sorry, I have to keep my throat lubricated with this throat thing going on, this lung thing. Okay, so liver, now this is classic, you guys. Your liver is really something that you want to think about proactively. So when you're thinking about your health and you're thinking about prevention, think, what can I do for my liver? What can I do for my liver? What can I do today to help my liver? Could I do a castor oil pack? Could I do some dandelion, some milk thistle? Could I do a coffee enema? Could I drink some carrot juice? Could I drink some green juices? All of these things are very beneficial for the liver. What can I do today to help my liver? Then I do go into the yellow area all the way usually down to 600. So you can see there's acidity. There's sort of mild acidity. There's also some environmental influence. Remember the whole air purifier thing. I think at a minimum, if you're in your home or you're in your office for any period of time, you want to have some type of air purification, unless you live out in the forest, and that's where you really get nourished. I was listening to this really interesting discussion about the gut microbiome. It turns out where you breathe air is really important to your health and to your gut microbiome. Now, this is interesting because this guy was talking about traveling all over the world and going to these different nature points around the globe because he wanted to expose himself to that particular forest, the microbiome, and what he could actually breathe in from that experience. You guys, if you hear a pause, it's me just coughing and trying to, so just bear with me on this, but we'll be fine. So yeah, so this is really interesting, you guys. If you go deep into the forest in your local area, you're actually getting a nice shot to your gut microbiome, as well as you're really getting well oxygenated, because what do plants do? They're amazing. They take in carbon dioxide and they give off oxygen. So it's really good to get outside into the forest, right? The Japanese call it forest bathing, which is going into the forest. And I guess really you are getting bathed with that full forest microbiome. Interacting with your skin and interacting with your lungs. It's kind of interesting. So go down to the bottom here and we go to infection. So that's very, very common, you guys. I've talked about this numerous times in an autoimmune illness and any type of chronic illness. I think we are seriously battling with underlying infection fairly often. So, doing things that help to boost the immune system on a significant basis. So doing things like hot and cold soaks, castor oil packs help with that, rebounding, taking Pau d'Arco or maybe some Argentin, which is the colloidal silver, taking rounds of this, doing maybe a round of garlic or your other type of whatever you like to do to boost your immune system on a regular basis, and sort of having a rotation. By the way, you guys, I don't usually talk about it, but if you do want to have a consultation with me, I do naturopathic consultations, and my best use of this time with clients like yourself is that we talk about how you're going to utilize the genius for yourself in between our sessions. This is sort of my vision for you being able to take a lot of this into your own hands, right? Is that I'm going to give you some guidance about the basics of what I see, and then you can take and run with that for a month, 2 months, 3 months, then come back and sort of recheck everything and find out what else you need to focus on. And that way I can specifically formulate a plan for you about boosting your immune system or doing certain practices. So just know that that's available. Go to my website and just go to contact us, and we can take care of setting up an appointment. So we've got connective tissue, a virus, kidney stuff. Kidneys are very, very common to be out of balance. I go all the way up to 100, even 200, even though we're in the green here. So kidney stuff, and she could be like eliminating a lot. I don't know what different, medications she's been on. It could have been chemotherapy or something like that. So the kidneys are under some stress. Blood sugar. Now she may have her blood sugar under control with nutrition, but cancer is extremely insulin sensitive. So if there is some dysregulation for any reason, then that could be affecting the growth of the tumor. Lymphatic, of course, that's very, very important. The lymphatics, we do skin brushing, we do saunas, we do many, many things. You guys remember that a lot of diseases are diseases of lack of light frequency. They are a lack of photonic light. Some of the research that I'm doing today involves getting in front of a near infrared light. If you guys see that, I mean, that's something you can sort of get at a hardware store, near infrared, exposing yourself to red light during the day, not at night. Making sure you get out and get light, looking at the sun. We're too deprived of light, you guys, and so this is another piece of chronic illness. Okay, a quick check here. Even though you can check anything here you're interested in, it's always good just to look over the ones that are in red and are in blue. So vanadium, this is usually about blood sugar. Iodine, now iodine is important for the immune system, you guys. So iodine is something that every cell in the body has receptors for iodine. And it is very important for allowing a good immune system. Now, one of the books I've mentioned many times for my longtime attendees is Iodine, Why Your Body Needs It and Why You Can't Live Without It by Michael Brownstein. And so that's a pretty good starter book just to understand the whole story of iodine, and I just sort of drank that book in. Just getting this in the question section here, so I put that down there. Just sort of drank all of that in. I'm not sure I totally agree with potassium iodide, which is mostly what they recommend in iodoral. This is another good reason to consult with me if you want to. But I'm more of a fan of nascent iodine or just getting iodine from kelp. So that's where I'm at on that. But iodine is incredibly important for cancer. And remember, you guys, if you go back to the 50 Cases by Dr. Gerson, his original book about the, which was the sort of the birth book for the Gerson therapy, is one of his main tools was using iodine with every cancer patient. Now here, when you see sodium, you have to think, there's no definitive with biofeedback. Biofeedback does not tell you definitively it's low or it's high, you guys. You got to use your noggin a little bit. Now, from a neutral perspective, the software does not care if it's low or high. Once you drop it in here and you harmonize it, the universal consciousness will figure that out. It creates harmony with that particular frequency of sodium. So if you're high in sodium, it helps to equilibrate that. If you're low in sodium, it helps to rectify that. You guys, we're frequency. We probably need very little nutrition and very little in the way of supplementation because we're electrical beings. So more and more we want to switch our focus to what is the electrical flow, what is the frequency. That's really important. Using the Beamer mat, using the Genius software, because we're more electrical, right? Remember, Jerry Tennant said this in his seminal book. We're more electrical than we are chemical. We're electrical first before we're chemical. So therefore, it's possible that using these harmonizing frequencies from the Genius may be even more powerful than taking the supplement. But our consciousness has not totally attuned to that yet. So we do, still benefit from food and supplementation. With that said, you guys, be curious. What do you think? Do you think a person is really deficient in sodium? They're most likely excessive. So you use that in your dialogue with them. Now, chlorine, this is something that it could be that they're low in hydrochloric acid. And at a minimum, if you could give wellness talks about how to take care of the digestive system, you would be doing people an incredible service, because most people are low in hydrochloric acid and low in digestive enzymes. Okay, let's go down to the bottom here. We've got iron. I don't want to go through all of these in too much detail. Manganese, copper, chromium. Selenium is very, very important because it's known to help to boost the immune system to deal with neutralizing cancer. Now, I'm still doing research to get the cancer class ready, but it is going to be ready very soon. I am going to open registration soon. You guys, everybody needs to jump in this class if you can, because it's all about prevention as much as it is about treatment. And there are very, very important things you need to know sort of to create a cancer wellness prevention program for yourself and your loved ones. So we're going to talk about a lot of those pieces. But cancer is really sort of this devolution from health. It's this moving away from the point of health. And everybody is somewhere along a spectrum between the best health that they've ever had and then, chronic illness. It's like, where are you today in the spectrum? And if you are feeling fantastic, right, you're usually a lot closer to optimal health. If you're feeling really tired and run down, you're sort of migrating down the spectrum. So what really happens is that every day you have some cancer cells because you were stressed or you were angry or you're something that's unresolved, and then you resolve it, you go to sleep, you have a new awareness about it, you get a colonic, you do a castor oil pack, and all the cancer cells go away. They literally just go away, they disappear. And then 2 days later, something more manifests. So I suspect that a couple of things happen in life. So number one is that it progresses so far down that you get physical symptoms, and then that's how it's discovered. But it's not known if we just took all the measures to reverse it that we've talked about, making the liver better, making the digestion better, getting lots of sleep, boosting the immune system, if it wouldn't just resolve on its own. I think that's a really important question, because the body is a self-healing mechanism. Your body knows how to heal on every level. So if we left it alone in terms of intervention, and we just did the most gentle of treatments to catalyze the body, would every cancer get better? And is cancer actually success decreased because of the different interventions that are used that are so harmful? So that's one question. But here's another question. Is cancer screening helpful? Now, this is more controversial, you guys. I'm not answering this question necessarily, but if you just went in on any given day and they screenshot sort of where you are in that day, they might catch you on a bad day. So tomorrow, no cancer. Today, cancer. And and that happens in biofeedback, you guys. Sometimes you're looking at the potentiality of a cancer. You're not really catching it in let's see what comes up for her when we use the immune system. And, total disclaimer, like, this is not a diagnosis. This is just an energetic potentiality. We can go into the cancer. I rarely use this, and we can use cancer all. I don't use this because I don't like to lock people into their potentiality. It could be here today, gone tomorrow, here today, gone tomorrow. And it happens all the time to all of us. We probably die with cancers in our body, but we didn't die of the cancer. We died of something else because we were able to maintain that. So I think this is something really important that I do want to explain in the class, is your attitude. And, I really don't recommend a huge amount of screening, because it's something that you might catch in that moment that might be gone tomorrow. That's not to say that, there's some screening that might have value, but we'll talk about the merits of that more in the class, and you have to make your own decision. Now, on any given day, any one of us may come up with this, and this is why I don't really test people with this entangled insights with the cancer all, because this is just way too scary. This is feline leukemia. Of course, we just take this. It shouldn't really be in the testing matrix. It's resonating with some type of leukemia frequency within this person, right? So here's the cancer. It says 50%, so it's not even that high. I mean, who knows, you guys? She might be already healing that frequency of cancer within her, and we don't know, right? Because the labs don't show it. So this is really the limitations of conventional medicine, and I think we're starting to see them more and more and more, how restrictive they are, how limiting they are, even in their language. You just need to go home because there's nothing else that can be done. That's not good languaging, and I think you guys know that. There's always something, right? When people say they've tried everything, you can look at them and say, well, I bet you ain't tried anything, because there's so many things. The only thing that's confusing about natural cancer care is that there's 1,000 different things that you can do. And then also just respecting people. If people decide that they do want to just pursue hospice, or they do want to give up, then we also respect that decision, but we offer them this frame of consciousness. So you can balance these frequencies, you guys. You can harmonize them. Let's take a peek at the aura, because it's something we haven't done yet. I always forget to do it in the beginning. So the aura, I don't know what the aura being 743 means. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it's there for us to basically look at. So let's take a peek at it. And then we'll go into some of the cancer panels. These panels are the ones that I've created, and I do find them to be more helpful. Whoa, that's really, really interesting. Wow, I wonder if she's doing some type of spiritual practice. I mean, the field looks good. This looks really good. Little bit of density in gray over here, a little bit of density under here. Looks really good. Well, Dale, have you been doing your magic tricks? If you've been working with her, then that could be it, or she may be doing her own work, but actually the aura looks really, really good. So now let's go into some of the custom libraries, custom testing libraries, and let's peek at some of the cancer ones. Remember, these are the ones I've come up with, and they're really meant to sort of take the cancer apart into different pieces and to analyze it from a more root cause perspective. So what does she need to help her digestion? Proteolytic enzymes, we've talked about that. And there's intrahepatic stones. Probably a lot of illness is due to this problem with the liver. Western food will do that. So the gallbladder tends to become overtaxed and we build up stones. I'm not going to talk about it too much. Liver detoxification, sluggish. One thing that will help this whole thing is castor oil pack. You guys, I really haven't talked a lot about these wellness tools in a long time, but really castor oil pack is pretty much good for what ails you. Remember, in another time, going back at least a couple generations, the whole solution was that you would drink castor oil and just purge yourself. The purging itself, you know, had some therapeutic benefits. Nobody liked to take the castor oil, but putting it on has a similar effect in that it goes through the skin and it activates. It's sort of minor. It sort of does a minor irritation to the lymphatic system. And for some reason, you know, what castor oil is oil from the castor bean, right? And it's also, there's something very high vibrational about the castor bean and castor oil. And it's been called the Palma di Christi. Did you guys know that? It's been called the oil of Christ. So the castor oil pack is incredibly powerful for helping the lymphatic system, but it also does something deeper. It seems to help the liver. It seems to, when you do the pack over the liver, it seems to do many, many things. It deeply improves sleep. So if you do a castor oil pack before sleep, it can be really powerful. I do give people the option of doing a castor oil massage, which is just the application of the castor oil on a lot of their body before they get in the shower, and then they sort of sudsy soak, you know, clean all that oil off, wipe out the tub so they don't slip next time. And that can be beneficial for people who are super busy. They don't have time to do that. But really for anybody who's chronically ill, they should do the whole kit and caboodle where you get the cotton cloth and you get the castor oil and you use not really a heating pad if possible, maybe one of those rice jobbies that you can put in the microwave. Anything to warm up the castor oil is really, really good. But I've seen people who are, you know, so constipated that their belly just is pooching right out there. They come in next time practically flat belly. But it's good for many, many different things, you guys. When you don't know what to do, try castor oil. Liver practices. So what we're doing is we're sort of investigating what are some of the things that could help this person around the cancer, but what are some of the causative pieces to that? So you see turmeric, that's a really, really good remedy. We see kale, the greens coming up here. Let's sort of do these in order, I guess. We did the liver. Let's do the immune system, see what's going on with the immune system. We've got B cells. Okay, B cells are really, you know, really, really great for different infections that we have. So we did the immune system. We have immune support. Let's look at hormonal balance. Okay, so this is really, really important. Has your client tried a plant-based diet? Are they currently on a plant-based diet? That could be a really, really important thing. If there's any dairy or meat in the diet, there's going to be more of a chance of estrogen dominance. And remember that unfortunately, estrogen will be out of balance in relation to progesterone. So even though a woman postmenopausally, which our client is postmenopausal, is going to have lower estrogen, it's going to be so high in comparison to progesterone that it doesn't matter. It's relatively high, and we can see this toxic estrogen exposure, 4-hydroxyestrone, which is known to promote breast cancer. Exogenous estrogen exposure. So we see, you know, you guys, those people who say that biofeedback is not revelatory, that doesn't reveal the truth, that isn't consistent. They really don't know what they're talking about. When we're using the Genius, we see this consistency. It makes total sense. These are all indicators that part of the cancer is related to this estrogen dominance. Ways that you overcome that are DIM, diindol methane, which we probably all should be taking because it helps to cut down those harmful estrogens. You know, unless you're eating broccoli with every single meal, tons of cruciferous vegetables, and even that's usually not enough. And we talked also cleaving the estrogen in the liver is that's really important, is something called calcium deglucarate. That's another one that can be used. And then you try to use some form of progesterone promotion to basically bring up the level. Imagine a relative difference. So very, very high amount of estrogen, a very low amount of progesterone. And if you bring up the progesterone, you tend to make smaller that relative difference. You could do that with Vitex. You could do that with evening primrose oil. You could do that with borage. All those things would be beneficial. But definitely there's a huge hormonal component. Now, again, what do we know? We don't know if any of this is going to make a difference, you guys, but it has a high probability of making a difference. That's what biofeedback is all about. We're looking for the items that have a high probability of being relevant for this person. So there's actually a test, and Dale, we could work on it, or you can pursue it yourself, from a company called Meridian Valley, and they do a hormone metabolite test. And what they do is they actually tell you if in your urine, when if they look at the urine, it's great because it's not a blood test. And I believe you can just do this long distance. You can just send in the results, and they send in the sample, you send you back the results. And what they're looking at is how are you metabolizing estrogen. And guaranteed that if somebody is consuming meat or dairy, they're almost always showing up with poor, the toxic estrogen metabolites. And these are known to cause aberrant growth, aberrant cell growth, but more particularly like breast cancer and uterine cancer. Okay, let's get some water. Okay, so then we can look at optimal nutrition. I also really like these frequencies. These are affirmations or frequencies that can be used in your balancing specifically. So telomerase activation, the activation of the healing frequency of telomerase. The telomeres are like, imagine shoelaces, and those little plastic things that go on the end of the shoelaces, imagine them being your telomeres. They're nice and healthy. Now imagine that they start to fray away and you can't get those laces inside the shoe. That is what's happening with the telomerase. They're starting to shorten, they're starting to fray, and these are what help your cells to stay healthy. And when the telomerase starts, the telomeres start to shorten, you begin to age. And so there's a really great supplement that I can help you to get for a slight discount if you're interested, called TA65. It's rather expensive, but you guys, when I've taken the TA65, there's two versions. There's like the mild version and there's a super strong version. I've only ever taken the mild version because it's quite expensive. You're talking like $800 to $900 for a month of TA65. So the mild version you can get for like $150 for 30 capsules. And anyway, the TA65, when I've taken it, I've been completely like, wake up in the morning, like no aches and pains, you wake up like kind of fuzzy, wake up totally clear. So I think I just needed to do the duration longer. So there's something about that. So that's just a proprietary form of astragalus, you guys. So that's something to look into. Release the vaccination effects. So you guys, I know that we've spent a lot of time on this case, but there's so much we need to talk about in that cancer class. It's going to be 8 weeks. It's going to be all recorded, and it's going to be available for download to watch as many times as you want. But this vaccination effect and the connection to the GC-MOF is really, really important. We need to talk about Nagalese and how vaccinations are affecting GC-MOF and Nagalese in the body. It's a really important discussion, but releasing vaccination effects, because if you go back to the early writings and sort of if you were watching those DVDs in the 90s about Len Horowitz, you know that he had this sort of, very secret information that some, let's just say they might, right? That on a crazy day, you might get vaccinated, and then these vaccination pieces stay in your body for decades and eventually cause the generation, I think they're like oncogenes, they cause oncogenes to turn on. I mean, let's just imagine that that was possible, I guess is what I'm saying. So it's possible that these vaccinations given very early in life have sort of a time release effect. I don't know, I could be just making that up. Don't take that as real. But look it up, think about it. And so could vaccination effects affect you decades later? So this is something, that's why biofeedback is really, really powerful when you think about it. When you look at something like this, if you're faced with it, you're like, well, you'd be like running like your hair is on fire. Like, well, what the hell do I do about it? Oh my God, I've got all these things. And so biofeedback, the whole purpose of biofeedback is to give you solutions. What do I do if I have this? Well, put it in the tray and harmonize it. Anything that you can recognize can be harmonized. Anything that you can see is occurring, you can release it. We talk a lot about lifestyle because I feel that that goes hand in hand. We talk about supplementation and everything, but who's to say that everything cannot be resolved through harmonizing, through running the genius? We hear miracles all the time. Last week we heard Fiona's miracle where the guy was supposed to have heart surgery and the whole surgery was averted because she ran frequencies for him for, every day for 14 days. So who's to say that running this frequency for 3 hours for happy and healthy cell growth and just running them for our client for 3 hours a day would not just shift the entire case, right? We don't know. But I suspect that there's real power in that. That's probably maybe the most powerful stuff that we have. We're not going to talk about all of this, but these are really, really powerful pieces. Harmony with microbes, the power of Om, which is the power of perfection. My perfect cancer-free frequency, the energy of kindness. Maybe these are more powerful than any type of cancer cure that we currently know of. And you guys, you may come up with more pieces like this. You may come up with your own frequencies like this. Let's go down here. Hang on. Okay, healthy apoptosis. So another thing we really need to talk about. Healthy cells, sort of when they've done their selfless service, their seva as cells helping us, they just sort of disintegrate and they humbly die off and allow other cells to come into the mix. And this is called the process of apoptosis. Well, when a cell, for some reason, maybe frequency, right? The wrong frequency, it doesn't die at the right time. It doesn't release itself. And it begins to have this, what we call aberrant or unhealthy cancer growth. So we want a healthy apoptosis. There's that kidney function. Now, when you're doing good biofeedback, you want to explore the echoes, the things where you see things similar or parallel things in other parts of the program. So optimizing kidney function, we also saw the kidneys were under stress in today's stress, right? Happy DNA, this maybe could be, imagine that happy DNA is just a singular frequency that you put into the quick zap and then you run that for 3 hours with the power plugged in for your client. Which one has more power? Running all the frequencies or running that one singular frequency? We don't know. But it's something to really think about. Love for the abnormal cells. Do we reject the abnormal cells or do we embrace them as being a part of ourselves? Kind of like the Ho'oponopono prayer, right? Just as you in the outer world, You know, everything I see is a part of myself. If I see somebody enraged, I want to apologize because I am part of that rage. I am part of that experience. So I'm so sorry. What about the cells within me? The cells that have gone off and done things that may be harmful to my body, do I want to be angry at them, or do I want to embrace them and say, you know, I am so sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Will that help to change the energy, the photonic energy of the body? Cell-to-cell communication. So if you look at all of the different information, so fascinating, coming out about cancer, is the most important thing will turn out probably to be this cell-to-cell communication. The energetic or frequency of the ability of the cells to communicate with each other and work together for the better health of the body. 528 hertz. Empower P53. This is a tumor suppressor gene, healthy T cells. I'm going through them a little bit fast. So let's get that GC-MOF in there, even though we can see this is 212. We're going to talk about the GC-MOF in the cancer class. It's probably been the most suppressed therapeutic they don't want you to know about. And inhibit angiogenesis. This is the growth of the cancer. Why can't we just run a frequency that says to stop the cancer, inhibit angiogenesis, and that'll just stop the cancer? Okay, guys, I know we're going to run just a little bit long, and I know we've been doing a long time on this case, so thank you so much for hanging in there. Let's go ahead and run some frequencies. Normally, I would do emotions and flower essences. So we do see the cancer energy coming up as a very, very high energy. And now this happens obviously because it exists, because everyone's focused on it. Remember, one of the fatal flaws of medicine, of conventional medicine, is it's only the entire paradigm. Because when you go in to see a doctor, the first thing you do is talk about your problem. So we know, sort of an Abraham Hicks sort of basis, right? Anything that you talk about, you're going to expand the frequency of it. Anything you talk about, you're going to expand the frequency of. So what are we going to do? We're going to go to the doctor. We're going to talk about the problem. We're going to test the problem. We're going to tell the whole story of the problem. Well, what happens to the problem itself? The energy of the problem becomes expanded. It's a huge problem just with the paradigm of natural medicine. And one of the things I was exploring a couple of years ago, I really want to come back to, is this idea is, what if you went to the doctor, but you never talked about your problem? You didn't focus. Of course, every doctor would be run out of town, right? There's no discussion of the problem. You know it's somewhere there in the background, but everybody's going to focus on everything that's right. So the whole focus, the whole meditation is on everything that's right in your body and everything that's wonderful about you. Everything that's, going right in the body, everything that's unique and wonderful about you is sort of, praise and celebrate you, and also just celebrate like, wow, but your legs are still working, your eyes are still working, your liver still works. And so this is just a redirection of frequency. Are we going to direct the frequency at things that do not work, that are breaking down? And from a purely theoretical perspective, we would imagine that this would actually increase the energy of the issue. And unfortunately, doctors get paid because their patients keep coming back. And that's not a criticism, that's just the reality of the situation. The traditional doctors of China, if their patient did not get better, they would, they would be mourning at their home, right? They would be turning the lights off at night because they're so ashamed that they didn't help their client. The whole idea is to get them better and that they go on with their life after this. Let's get to some of your comments. We're losing a couple of people there. Maybe it was too long of a discussion on cancer. I wish I could get this thing to go mute, but it won't mute. Let me just try it this way. Let me see if I can do it this way. Okay, let me just see if I can put this back on now, if it'll still be on. No, I can't get the sound off. Okay, did you start with her aura today? Yes, I did. All right. What is a good frequency for living in Amish country to live better, breathe better air? I would think living in Amish country is breathing better air. All right, I don't have time to read all of these. Oh, thanks, Sophie. It's not very loud. Thank you. I appreciate that. Awesome. Okay, so let's just do a brief now other check-in of her aura. I mean, it looked great. So I assume that's because of some of the work that that Dale has been doing. It must be. So let's just go ahead and take another look at the aura. What we have to do to re-engage this is we need to just touch the play button briefly, and then it will bring up that begin analysis again. It's something that could be made better on the Genius. Okay. Okay, I would say this is sort of digging into the muck, sort of one of those where we're going deeper and sort of working things out. So some energy coming in here, sort of a grayish over here. So, you know, we only bounce for like 30 seconds, but you can see sort of the progression. So people will go in, dig deep in, and then sort of come back out. So it's cyclical. They go through cycles. Is it possible? Okay, so Dale had asked, is it possible to send the frequencies? So let me just show that to you guys, and we'll go a few minutes over. So again, what I would continue to do, sort of strontium is interesting. I would look that up. It's usually for bone density, but maybe it has some type of, you know, purpose here. That'd be interesting. All right, so optimizing stem cell function, taurine powder, usually good for the adrenals, healthy B cells, digestive fire low. We just didn't really get to do a lot of emotions and flower essences, which would be really important in here. What I did want to show you is, let's see, we have these down in the main hold tray. Now, assuming you were going to send all 74, Dale, what you might want to do is either reduce the number here or yeah, I think you just have to, because you have to send them from the main hold tray. They go from the main hold tray. Let me show you this now. Dale got a Quanta capsule for his client. Okay, so what we're going to do is, actually, I don't know if I have my Quanta capsule on here. Is it activated though? Yeah, after, because of that glitch, I have to re-download these. But let me show you how it would look anyway, even though I won't really be able to do the import on it. So what it would look like is, in the Genius, you go up here, you go to, I think it's accessories, and then you go inside Quanta Cap, enter the email. So you would, Dale, you would enter her email, like I'll enter my email. One of them anyway. Okay. So you enter the client's email. Whoops. And then I think you have to put a code with it. Okay, yeah, all right. So it's just sent. So let's see. Let me go see if it's in the email. So they receive an email with a code, and then what they do is they cut and paste that code into their Quanta capsule. Once you see it in action, it's pretty easy, and it's pretty awesome to have them using it. And they can run those frequencies on themselves whenever they want to. And so it puts a huge amount of empowerment in, you know, to them. It took me forever to grasp this whole concept. But once you do, it's pretty awesome. So you could send these to anyone. You know, Quanta capsules $49. You can buy it on their behalf. Then we send the activation to them. They put it on their own device, and you show them how to use it. And so they don't know how much you've paid for it. So if you want to mark it up or give it to them as a gift with the purchase of a bunch of sessions, that's totally, totally up to you. So what happens then is, let's look at this. Go to the main screen here. So what happens then is they get this email, welcome to the Inside Quanta. Sorry, probably can't see it that well. And then it gives them this code. And what they do is they copy and then paste the code into the Quanta capsule. I can't show you right now because I don't have the new version on, and so I'm not able to access the Quanta capsule, but you get the idea. So it's a very, very powerful tool, and you just want to show them how to use it. So we do have videos showing how to use the Quanta capsule and what you do with it. You guys, if I didn't get to your case, then definitely just send me a message and you could be up at the front for next time. So let's just see if anything else. Yeah, if I didn't get a chance to work with you guys, then just send me your information. I'll see if I can get you at the front of the line for next week. And urgent cases considered as priority. We ran long today, but I want to really thank everybody for attending. If you have not gotten your Genius system yet, send me a message, awakentotalhealth.com. I've got 2 special gifts for you if you get your system this week. I've got 2 very special gifts for you if you get your system this week. So get in touch with me and find out more about that. I'll be on Facebook Live at 12 o'clock on Wednesday, and you can always reach me at the website, awakentotalhealth.com. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Take care now and be well. Much love, and bye-bye for now.